This is the Transformers Generations War for Cybetron Trilogy EARTHRISE Deluxe Class Runamuck. I picked up this figure from our Toys. Let's get him out of packaging. And here is Runamuck out of packaging, and the figure looks absolutely gorgeous. Even if you're not familiar with this figure from the G1 toy, you are going to fall in love with this figure. This figure is absolutely well made. Hardly anything to complain about. I don't think I ever complained about anything from this figure. The transformation is a little tricky. I probably say that. But overall, I think Hasbro and Takara Tomy did a wonderful homage to the Battle Charger Runamuck. Very, very cool looking. Battle Chargers, attack! So let's look at the details of the figure. He's done in this really nice powder white paint apps. It's just really immaculate. We'll talk more about why the paint apps are such in alt mode. You'll see more clearly why Hasbro decided to paint the other pieces of this figure in the same paint that they used for the clear plastic pieces when we get this guy in alt mode. But look at this head sculpt. The head sculpt is so G1. I know I keep saying that with a lot of the War for Cybetron Trilogy figures, but they've really nailed it, making the figures look like the updated version of their G1 counterparts. You got a nice little Decepticon logo right here, done in that Decepticon purple. Very cool. It's got the blaster right here. In the original toy, the blaster was actually here because the toy had no articulation whatsoever. And if you look at the toy, you can clearly see how it has no articulation, and the only way to put the gun is on the shoulder. And if you look again at this new updated look, there is the same wheel that we see from the old G1 toy. This is actually a vestigial piece for this figure, but in the old G1 toy, that was the rear wheels of the car. This particular figure was actually called a Battle Charger, and the way they transformed was you'd put them in car mode, you pull them back, and you let them go, and they would pop up as a robot. It was like a one-step thing. It was automatic transformation, and Hasbro thought it was a neat little gimmick back in the day. And I thought it was pretty cool too. But, I didn't like the robot mode because you couldn't really do anything with it. It was a very gimmicky toy.
It's all the members of the Autobots! Battle Chargers attack! Nobody jumps into action. Battle Chargers! My Battle Chargers will crush the Autobots! Nobody jumps into action. Battle Chargers! For the meat the eye. The Transformers!
It's the Autobots! Battle Chargers attack!
The Transformers, each sold separately from Hasbro.
And for some size comparisons, here is Runamuck with a few other Decepticons from the War for Cybetron Trilogy with the exclusive Refractor and another exclusive EARTHRISE Soundwave. So let's look at articulation for the figure. The head is on a ball joint, very cool. Waist swivel, shoulders can go up and down, forward and backward. It's got a bicep swivel, hinge elbow, hinge wrists because of transformation. Hips, you can go do the splits, go forward and backward, very tight as well. You got a thigh swivel, hinge knees, just a hinge knee like this. Kind of is a double hinge knee because of transformation, but this is really how just the knee bends less than 90 degrees. Okay, foot articulation because of transformation, as well as a rocker pivot, which is not because of transformation. They just really added that. It's like ankle rockers are a requirement for any figure from the War for Cybetron Trilogy. So let's transform him into his car mode. Get rid of the weapon. It's a little tricky, but if you do it slowly, step by step, you should be able to get him in a very smooth looking alt mode. So first thing you want to do is you want to flip the toes back like this. Okay, don't join the feet together at this point. Instructions tell you to do so, but I think it really is better if you do the knees one at a time. Okay, rotate the waist like this, and then fold up that whole foot assembly or leg assembly just like that, just underneath the fall wheels. Okay, and then you tab the feet together once you've done that. So make sure it's flush, it's all the way in, shove it in all the way like that, okay? And then these black pieces, these fake wheels, you got to fold them up all the way up. Make sure you hear that click. They have to click right there, right there. Otherwise, they're going to end up scraping the ground when you roll him. So he has to be as flat as possible. Don't stop until you hear that click, okay? Make sure that the legs are flat as well, that the hip, sorry, I'm talking about the hip joint. Make sure it's nice and flat and horizontal, okay? Just like that. Rotate the biceps like this so that the car panels, the car doors are right there. Go ahead and fold up those fists like that, okay? And then what you want to do is you want to fold out the head, fold down the head first. So go like this. Fold the fake chest. It's a fake chest. This is actually the roof and the actual roof and windshield of the car. This is fake. That's fine. I mean, I really don't like that. So before you fold the head all the way in, make sure you rotate that head sculpt 180 degrees. Just keep it straight. You don't need to make him look down or up or anything like that. Just keep him straight and he will clear. He should be able to clear that shoulder assembly nicely, and you can fold it back up like that. Make sure it's all the way flat as well, otherwise it's going to scrape the ground. Okay, then detach the backpack. Go ahead and unfold these wheels, the rear wheels. These are the actual wheels of the car. Go ahead and detach this back piece right here. The shoulders are tabbed onto them. Just detach it like this. Hold it like that. All right, and then the shoulders are going to go up like this, and then you're going to tab in the arms like that. Make sure they're tight. They're tabbed all the way in, all the way through. Try to leave as little gap as possible. That'll help you make a very flush car mode. Last bit is really you need to tab the windshield onto this part of the legs. On my copy, it just leaves a gap, leaves a little bit of a gap. I've been trying to push it down all day. It just won't go in as far as, this is as far as it will go, I think. I don't know, is it because of the thick paint or I don't know, it's just a quality issue, but that's as good as it gets for my copy of the figure. And lastly, you want to fold that rear bumper, that rear part of the top of the car, fold it in there and put it down as close to the ground as possible, as close to the body as possible. On my copy, it just doesn't want to. This is the best it can do. And there you go. There you have Runamuck in his car alt mode. Let's look at the alt mode of Runamuck. Like I said earlier, if you fold up everything's flush, you should be able to have him roll freely. All four wheels rolling, and none of the kibble is hitting the ground. This one is a little loose. I don't know why. Maybe the way the wheel's been assembled, it doesn't roll as nicely as I want it to. But the others, they roll very, very nicely, and the thing just clears about less than a millimeter. And again, Hasbro's penchant for the small clearances on the ground in alt mode. But if you do it properly, you should be able to do so this way. It's a great looking alt mode. I'm actually very, very impressed with it. And if you look at the paint apps, obviously these are the clear plastic that have been painted in white, this type of powder coated feel, like a powder white paint, very matte finish. And what's interesting is Hasbro also decided to paint the other pieces of the car, like the feet, these pieces right here, the side of the arms. They painted it in the same white paint they used for the windshield so that everything will match and there's no off colors like what we had with Sunstreaker. And I think that's great. I think that's really nice fan service from Hasbro for doing that. And he looks absolutely terrific. Nice Decepticon logo clearly seen right there. And here's the faux chest that we've seen in robot mode. So yeah. And so we have an idea of how he scales with the other figures. Here is Sunstreaker and Cliff Jumper. And looking at the G1 Runamuck, I think Hasbro did a wonderful job with the likeness in car mode to the old G1 Runamuck. And if you look at this one closely, it's really an 80s car. I can't remember which car model that they used, but I think this is the better looking one with the body kit and the nice rims. But it's a very, very good homage or likeness to the old G1 Runamuck. As for the weapon, you can obviously mount it here on the peg hole. I don't really like it to be mounted on it. I'm trying not to put it in as much because I don't want to ruin that really wonderful, immaculate paint that they put on this clear windshield. So I wouldn't advise to do that. I just wish there was a way to store it somewhere underneath right here, or I don't know. It would have been nice if it's stored right here, but it would have compromised the stability of the feet. So I'm good with it. I don't need to store it in car mode. But yeah, very nice, very sharp looking alt mode. And so some final thoughts on this figure. I love this figure. This figure is an absolute must-have if you're into the War for Cybetron Trilogy figures. I'm so impressed at how well Hasbro and Takara Tomy made this figure. And I'm really glad they made it into that medium-sized deluxe class figure instead of a legend scaled figure or a small deluxe class figure like Cliff Jumper or Bumblebee. He's a great figure. He's a terrific homage to the G1 Battle Charger figure back in the day, and I think this is how he would have looked like in the modern universe of the Transformers Generations line. I really, really love this figure. This figure is going to get a 10 out of 10. I highly recommend you pick up this figure. Let me know in the comment section what you think of this War for Cybetron Trilogy Earthrise Runamuck figure. Do you agree with me? Do you think it's a pass? You'd wait for it on clearance, or is it an absolute must-have that you're gonna hunt down? As always, hit that notification bell so you never miss out on any of my latest video reviews. If it's your first time here, please subscribe. And if you want to help support the channel, please check out my Patreon account. There's a link in the description box below. Any form of contribution, no matter how small it is, will be greatly appreciated and will help further this channel. Thanks for watching. Thank you so much for staying till the very end of the video. I really appreciate it. It helps with the algorithms and the viewership of the videos on YouTube. I just wanted to show you guys how thin or how small the clearance is of this alt mode of Runamuck. And as you can clearly see, it is like a hair, like a fraction of a millimeter clearing the ground right there. But if you fold everything up nicely, nice and flush, everything will roll properly. All the wheels, you have a smooth rolling alt mode, and it is so crazy small clearance right there. This one is actually a little bit scraping the ground, but it is possible to clear the ground if you fold and transform him properly. Once again, thanks for watching.